Hey, I'm Jim, and I like to make money. I believe the best way to build wealth is through real estate and passive income. Your money is working for you, and you're not always working for the money. Today, specifically, I'm going to teach you how to get your second investment property, right? So in case you need to start from the beginning, be sure to check out my other video about how to get your first rental property. The link for that is in the description below. But today, more specifically, I'm going to focus on how to get you your second property. First strategy that we always talk about, and I'll give you a little background for that too. When you buy a primary home, you actually are able to purchase it with a lower down payment. You'll get a lower interest rate on it too. So I always suggest using this benefit to acquire your property. So say you own a house already and now you want to buy an investment property. Well, it might be a good idea for you to make your existing home the rental property and then go buy yourself another primary home, because this way you can put less money down, you can have a better interest rate on it. Are there tax benefits to this? Yes, there are, because if you decide to sell this house that was your primary home that was converted to a rental, if you sell that within like 3 years, you're still going to qualify for the taxes exemption on that as well too. So that's just another benefit for you. The whole strategy is about letting your renters pay off your mortgage for you. If you can repeat this process every 2 years, it's a great way to start building a portfolio. I myself did this to start off. I bought a primary home, made it like a rental property, and then bought another primary home. That was the way I started doing it. I would suggest that if you're just starting out, it's a great way to get started on that. I have had clients do this as well. It's a great way to get properties without having to put a lot of money down and having to pay high interest rates for an investment property mortgage. I'll just share a story with you of a friend of mine actually, all right? He has a really nice house in Summerlin, pool and everything like that. He wanted to buy an investment property, all right? So rather than coming up with 20% down to buy another house that was bigger or smaller or whatever the case was, what he decided to do was actually buy another primary home like I had suggested. But he didn't buy a bigger, fancier house. He bought a smaller house actually, right? That would make a good rental property. What he's going to do is he's going to move into the smaller house for a little while because he was able to get in with a lower down payment, get a better interest rate on it. He's going to rent out the bigger Summerlin house for maybe a couple years, right? And then at that time, if he doesn't want to live in that small house anymore, he can move back into that big house, still kept the mortgage on it, still kept the payment the same on it. But now the investment property, or so-called primary home right now, has a lower down payment, locked in interest rate already, it's fixed. If it's rented out, then he can just flip-flop them. Or he can keep moving down the road too and get his third property as well. I get it. Maybe you really love your home and you don't want to move and move and move again. Just remember that, you know, when investing or achieving any type of goal is going to take some type of sacrifice. Another strategy that you can try is this. If you own a property already too, and let's say it has a really good equity on it, so you have hundreds of thousands of equity in your property, which is not crazy to have right now. If you have the equity, what you can do is do some type of cash out equity loan on the property, pull the equity out of your property, and then hold on it for like 6 months. That way the funds are seasoned now, and you can actually use it as a down payment to put down on your next purchase that way. This is another way of doing it, but you know, I think there are drawbacks to this, obviously, because if you have a home equity line and you're holding this money for 6 months, you're paying interest on this money for 6 months as well too. So while you're holding onto this cash, hopefully you park it in some place that is making some type of return that's helping you offset the cost of having this money out, right? So a real world example of that is, okay, maybe you can get an equity loan out and it's like 6%, right? Well, if you have to put it, you have to lock it up for 6 months anyways, maybe put it in a 6-month CD, make 5% interest on it. At least the cost of you holding that money is less now, okay? Rather than paying the whole payment the whole time. That strategy is just a way, in case it's not easy for you to get a big down payment for another property or investment right away, is to do this using the equity method. Because a lot of times people, you know, you're making okay money, but you're not saving a lot at once, and most of your assets are really tied into the equity of your home. So this is a strategy that would be more suitable for you in that way, right? Because if all your money is in your equity, let's use that equity and let's put that to work, okay? So while we're on the subject of equity, let's jump right into strategy 3, okay? Let's just say you bought a house and you've owned it for a while, let's say, all right? Now you have a lot of equity, right? And you have this really low payment that you really are having a hard time letting go of. Well, you can also do right now is if you have a lot of equity in your house right now, you can sell the house. You can sell the house and just realize all of the equity that you've gained. Because it's your primary home, you won't have to pay capital gains on this money. And what you do with this money is now you go buy 2 houses with it. Because if you have a lot of equity, you can go buy a primary home with like as little as like 5% down or 3.5% down if you do FHA, or maybe 0 if you have VA. But anyways, you use the equity, you buy another primary home, and then you put 20% down on an investment property that you buy as well too. And that's kind of a way where you take the equity from your house, you sell the house, you take the remaining money, and then you put 2 down payments down. So now you have 2 properties. I know this is going to be situational, you know, like if you didn't love the house that you were in, but you do love the equity, this is a way to get out of it and put it to work for you, all right? Or you're ready to move. Maybe you're ready to upsize, you know, maybe your family's growing, or maybe you need to relocate. This strategy is not for everybody all the time, but if it fits you, it's definitely a way to go because that's a way to use the equity that you have. With this method, instead of having one mortgage, right, that you're paying, now you're gonna have one mortgage that you're paying, and then you'll have another mortgage that the renter's paying off of you, right? So in essence, you're still just paying one mortgage this way. One thing for you to consider this is you might say, well, I don't know if I can qualify for 2 mortgages, right? That's a really good question to have because the thing you should consider is if you buy an investment property, they can actually use your projected rental income to help qualify you for more borrowing power, okay? Let's just say you buy a house that has projected rents of $2,000 a month, all right? Well, the bank can actually use 75% of this projected rent towards qualifying you for more, right? So 75% of the $2,000 is $1,500. So if you're buying a rental property in this situation, you're going to be able to say that you make an extra $1,500 a month already, and they'll qualify you to borrow more money to buy more houses. And if you're in this situation now, I mean, you can even consider, it doesn't have to be single family homes. You can buy a condo, townhouse, you can buy a duplex, triplex, fourplex. I mean, if you do a multifamily, then you even have more revenue streams that you're collecting from as well too. So it doesn't always have to be single family homes, all right? Just depending on the market you're in or what your situation is too. I always remind people real estate investing is kind of a long-term investment. It's not a get rich quick overnight thing, all right? It does take time. It is a long-term investment. And if you watched my video last week that I posted, I kind of described my whole real estate portfolio. Everything that I've bought in the last 18 years is over 20 properties. But one thing that I mentioned in that video is my first investments did not make very good cash flow at all. I was just, breaking even really. The rent was just barely covering the mortgage, right? And it was through the time and the appreciation and paying down the principal balance that really helped me build equity. And then the market, of course, helped me as well too. So just know that it's long-term. It takes time to build. So at first, my goal was never cash flow. My goal was let's just get properties, all right? Let's just acquire more properties and things will work out as we move into the future. Rents will keep increasing, value keeps increasing, my loan balance keeps decreasing, increasing my equity position. Like, you've got to remember, like, those things need to be set into place for you to really, come up with your real estate investing. Here's the thing, I'm talking to a lot of people like this. It's about staying comfortable, right? A lot of people have owned their homes for years now. They have a low interest rate and they're like, I don't want to step up and pay a higher amount, right? Well, that's kind of being stuck in your comfort zone again, right? Like if you want to step up, you're going to have to do something to be uncomfortable a little bit, right? If you have a great low interest rate on a property, turn that into your rental then, all right? You got a low payment, you're taking advantage of the low interest rate that you have locked in, right? Or if it's not that great, sell the house, use the equity, make some moves. If you want to have long-term goals, I mean, you just have to make some sacrifices at the beginning to end up at a higher level down the road, all right? That's something that's important to do. Nothing worth having comes easy. I mean, that's just the truth. I know getting into the investing game could be very intimidating and you don't know where to start. I would recommend check out my channel. There's a lot of great information on there. And I start with every step of the way, from the first house to the second house to the third house, all different strategies, little tips, little hacks, that I learned along the way, because I mean, I've made a lot of mistakes along the way too. But the thing is, I try to learn from those things so I don't repeat these mistakes on my next investments, right? So, I'm just trying to share that, with people, with my audience here. If you're watching this video, you must really want to start investing in real estate. So be sure to check out the channel and the other videos. One of the passions that I have about this is actually helping turn people into real estate investors, honestly, because when I started, I mean, I didn't have this goal to be this big real estate investor from the beginning. I kind of just, I don't want to say fell into it, but kind of discovered it along the way. And I think it's something that no one ever talks about, no one teaches people about, because it's a great way to build wealth, or at least financial freedom for you, all right? So if you are just not sure where to start or where you are, I would love to help you, come up with a plan for your specific situation, right? Everyone's situation is different. So if you want to, reach out to me, the number's on the screen right now, but reach out, let's schedule a consultation, all right? If you're in town, we can meet at the office. If you're out of state, we can do a Zoom call too. I'd love to just kind of educate you on the process. I'll give you my advice or opinions on, what locations are good, what areas are doing good, where they have good rent, where I see future appreciation, things like that. But it's all about getting started, and, just do reach out to me. Give me a call, send me a message. Let's connect, and let's get you investing in real estate too. That's it for this week, but I'll see you on the next video, and be sure to give me a like and subscribe, please. All right.